Huge thank you to the good people at Sandbox and the developers of NASB 2 for giving me early access to their game. I don't know why they picked some crappy podcaster to make videos on their upcoming game, but whatever. Hello everybody, it's your favorite yearly gaming YouTuber Nintoonist here, and yeah, post-edit Nintoonist was not lying. I really did get early access to NASB 2, so once again, huge shoutouts to the people at Sandbox and the developers for giving me early access to the game. I'm playing it on November 4th right now, and before we get started here, I just gotta say, I want to apologize for this video probably being out a little later than I intended it to be. Beyond just being the ridiculously busy person that I am as of late, I also, when initially trying to record the footage that you're watching right now, I realized I did not have my GameCube adapter. I left it somewhere else, so I had to use this piece of dog shit for a little while, and I was just gonna suck it up and use the Mayflash, even though those have pretty much a horrible reputation in the platform fighter scene for basically being the GameCube controller equivalent of a rock. But then I plugged it in, and Danny just started moving to the right, just like this, all by himself, even though my controller was on my damn table. So I had to drive all the way to the LAN center where I left it at, drive back, and now I'm here and recording it for you all right now. But before we even get started with anything, I think to anybody who knew me from NASB or from the NASB video that I made, or more likely the close Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl friends that I competed with in that game against, they probably know that I was carried by this move. Whoa! So before even experiencing any other part of NASB 2, from the campaign to the online to whatever, my entire score and basis for this game is going to be completely determined on if Danny still has that move. So we're gonna find that out right now. Are you ready, kids? Let's do it.
10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100, best king, best king.
Alright, enough fun. I made a video a year ago talking about how amazing of a game I think NASB is, and anybody who watched that video probably already knows that I do genuinely believe that NASB 1 is a better competitive game than Smash Ultimate, and I will die on that hill. Casually though, and content-wise, not so much. You're probably wondering, no more memes aside, Nintoonist, what do you actually think about Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2? How should you, a real Nickelodeon All-Star, play NASB 2? And the only answer that I can really come up with in the time that I've played the game so far is this. Casually, it's way better than NASB 1 by a long shot. But competitively, it's a little worse. Let's talk about the positives first, shall we? One more than valid complaint about the first Nickelodeon All-Stars game is that it catered way too hard to the competitive niche of competitive Smash Brothers and platform fighter players, while offering pretty much nothing for casual players. They added items, I think, at some point, like halfway through the game's lifespan, but it was not enough to bring the casual gamer into the demographic of NASB 1. And I can tell you firsthand, as a seasonal Nintendo brand ambassador, visiting store to store and seeing the people who purchase the video games on a pretty regular basis, a lot of the people who still do purchase Smash Brothers are not the sweaty, try-hard, anime-loving competitive gamers that you and I have come to know and love and sometimes hate. They're 12-year-old boys and girls who just love to see their favorite characters all together in this new mystical, magical way, and NASB 1 really didn't offer that very much. But NASB 2 offers it in spades. On top of adding quality of life casual things like more outfits for characters and more stages, it also added a fully fleshed, complete campaign, complete with voice acting, dialogue, a hub world, boss battles, story mode, you name it. And I'm not sitting here saying it's the greatest story ever told or anything, but I think stuff like this is the things that were really missing from NASB 1, and given the budget that the first game had, I completely understand why it was missing. If you're familiar with World of Light and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the campaign for NASB 2 functions in an eerily similar way, in that you start with SpongeBob and go through the worlds to unlock more and more characters to add to your arsenal as you prepare for the final battle. This time though, minus the world map with all the stupid little minigames that, quite frankly, we didn't purchase Smash Ultimate to play. Rather, the game now has a hub world, similar to the kind of hub world that you'd find in an All-Star mode in the Super Smash Bros. Games, where you can heal, equip and dequip items, purchase new items, and just pretty much prepare yourself for the next battle. And this simplicity is just enough to make NASB 2's campaign a quick little fun romp through Nickelodeon's fun and fantastical worlds. And speaking of All-Star Mode in Smash Bros., with the exception of using equipable items to raise and lower your percent and stats like so, it also functions in the way that that game mode does in that you carry percentage through worlds, which is sometimes a problem and sometimes isn't, but I think what's a much bigger problem is when you're about to unlock your favorite character in the story mode, and even though you kill them, this happens. What?
What? We died at the same time! What do you mean I didn't win that? Why did that takes priority?
Let's start over.
Oh, that's so f you, Clockwork. No, shut up. That's bullshit. I won. And to top it all off, the game also added boss battles, which are cinematic, pretty to look at, very fun to interact with, and come from a wide variety of all of Nickelodeon's fun and fantastical worlds. So, quite frankly, as far as casual content goes, this game absolutely blows NASB 1 out of the water, and I really do hope that more casual gamers will give this one a chance instead of gearing just towards the competitive ones. But speaking of the competitive ones, to once again start with the positives before I get into the negatives, another very valid complaint about the first Nickelodeon All-Star game was that a lot of the animations were very clunky and, quite frankly, incomplete looking and feeling, and therefore competitive players, quite frankly, didn't like that game very much because oftentimes you couldn't even tell when your opponent was shielding, and as somebody who very much loved that game, they were completely right. And I completely understand people not wanting to play it for that reason. The game's lack of polish, compared to a lot of the other platform fighters that came before and after it, was a huge deterrent from people enjoying that game and wanting to give it a chance, even though it had some of the best mechanics and gameplay of any platform fighter that I personally have ever played, in my opinion. NASB 2, quite frankly, needed to fix those issues if they wanted anybody, competitive or casual players, to give their game a chance, and I'm very happy to say that on that front, they absolutely delivered. Shields actually have a bubble animation now, so you can actually tell when your opponent is shielding. Rolling and spot dodging has been added to the game, and they have pretty slick and smooth animations as well, so you can actually tell when your opponent is dodging on top of that, and on top of everything else, to make it more familiar to normal competitive, like Smash players and Rivals players alike. You can now have side specials and side normal attacks like normal platform fighters did that came before and after it. So with all that stuff in mind, the game should be a lot more familiar to competitive platform fighter players. Unfortunately though, that's probably gonna be the thing they're gonna like the most about it. Look, I said it 3 times in this video already, but I genuinely love NASB 1 so much, specifically mechanically, and how the platform fighter aspects of that game play out. Not even just because of the wave dashing, but because of things like crash canceling, how fast-paced the game is, how mashy and combo-oriented the game is, and some of this stuff does return in NASB 2 a little bit, but overall, the game is much slower paced. It reminds me of just like a slightly faster version of Multiverses, which is another game that I quite frankly did not like very much because of how floaty and slower it was. And more than anything else, it feels a little clunkier. It's really hard for a guy as occasionally inarticulate as me to describe, but the game, honestly, like sound effects, like it's a game feel thing, really. Like the game feel overall just feels a little worse, a little less consistent than NASB 1. I actually hopped into NASB 1 to get some footage for this video, right? And just wave dashing around in that game and crash canceling off of the platforms back and forth still just felt so good and fast-paced and intuitive. But unfortunately, NASB 2 just does not feel the same. On top of being slower paced, it's a little clunkier. Unfortunately, the game does not feel as responsive, and on top of that, the control scheme can be a little awkward depending on what controller type you're using. Look, I'm a Smash head, okay? I still use this piece of shit for all of my platform fighters. I don't like friggin' keyboard controllers. I don't like those tablet ones. I don't like the pads. I don't even like the Pro Controller, but this very well might be the first platform fighter that I ever switched to Pro Controller for, just for the extra shoulder button, and that is specifically because of the new slime mechanic. In an effort to stand out and make itself more unique, like any fighting game, quite frankly, would, NASB 2 added a meter for every character, and the meter functions like the kind of meter you would find in pretty much any fighting game. You get 1 bar, you're allowed to use enhanced moves for your specials, you get 2 bars, you're allowed to use them for your normal strong attacks, and when you get all of them, you can actually activate your character's, essentially what is their final smash, to do a ton of damage and potentially get some pretty early KOs on your opponent. But in order to implement this mechanic, NASB 2 did a pretty interesting thing in that they mapped the slime mechanic to 1 button. And much like the first NASB game, dodging and shielding is mapped to the same button as air strafing and wave dashing. So if you don't change your controls to have both shoulder buttons set to shield like, say, Smash Brothers would be, it's pretty hard to do things like wave dashing out of shield sometimes, or getting consistent wave dashes if you're weird like me and you wave dash with L but shield with R. Thankfully, the game lets you customize your controls even better than the first game because you can map 2 buttons to the same action, but it took a little bit more experimenting than I would have liked to admit to find a control scheme in this game that I'm comfortable with. So for the first time in my life, I think I'm gonna safely say that beyond ergonomic reasons, it is better to use the Pro Controller for NASB 2 than it would be to use the GameCube controller. But if you can't give up the GameCube controller because you're an old Smash head like I am, there are ways to make it work. And last but not least here, I gotta say, I know I'm playing the game before it's officially released, but some interactions are a little, how you say, fucked up.
I can't move! Oh shit. Yo, it's clockwork. He froze me. Oh no. God damn it. Okay, I can at least pause. I want to see if I can eventually get out of this. Like, if he eventually hits me, I need to know. This is like the last one before fighting Vlad. I need to know if I can get out of this. Please. Please, God. At least she got stuck in a cool pose. At least she got stuck in a cool pose. That's pretty dope. I think I'm just gonna let the clock run this out. Unfortunately, I'm on my last life, so I only have 1 stock left, so I think I'm just gonna get a game over if this goes to time, but I don't know. It's my only option besides quitting out at this point, and I've come too far to back out now. We've approached the 45-second mark. I've had a lot of time to reflect on myself in these 2.5 minutes that Ember's been frozen in the guitar pose. Such as, why does her pirate outfit look so cool? Who can pull off a pirate outfit like that and be like, you know what, I'm gonna look dope, I'm gonna look sexy in this pirate outfit right now? Ember McLean. That's who. Only person I know who can wear a pirate outfit and be like, I look better than what you're wearing today. Oh my god, he hit me. Holy shit, he hit me. I have a chance. Oh my god, can I kill him? Yo, no, oh my god, I have a fucking chance. Die. No. Why did he wait? Why did he? I thought, like, he couldn't hit me because the game glitched. He seriously just went 2.5 minutes without touching me and hit me in the last 10 seconds? What the fuck? God, alright, I need a minute, man. Alright. I don't want this video to be too long, so it's time to answer the question that we asked at the beginning of the video. How should you, a true Nickelodeon All-Star, play Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2? And my answer to that is, you should play it however you want.
I can tell you confidently, as somebody who travels from store to store in my region, telling parents and children all about the fun joys of Nintendo and video games, that NASB 2, they're gonna get a lot more out of that game than they ever would out of the first one, and I can confidently say that to them, and I can hope it will produce smiles the same way it did to them as it did to me. And as far as the competitive side goes, even though I've had my gripes with it, it is not the worst platform fighter I've ever played, and I am cautiously optimistic and have a good amount of faith that they're only gonna make it better as it goes on. After all, the game is in beta, so glitches like this are gonna be par for the course. So while the game isn't perfect, I think it's going to have something for everybody, and I promise whether you are a casual or a competitive gamer this time around, you're gonna be able to get something out of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, and I hope the game will be able to make you smile as much as it's made me smile. And if this video made you smile for better or for worse and you want to check out more of my content, I have a podcast. I upload a new one every single week. It's a labor of love comedy podcast that I do with my good, longtime best friend, Dennis, and I hope you guys will be able to get something out of that. We talk about gaming, we talk about comedy, we interview esports and YouTube personalities, all sorts of stuff. So if that's your thing, you can check it out on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast, and more importantly, right here at youtube.com/Nintoonist. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, leave a like on the video, and comment down below what your experience with NASB 2 has been so far, because I am more than anxious to hear it. Once again, huge thanks to Sandbox and all the developers of NASB 2 for giving me early access to their game and having faith in me to provide a fair and honest critique of it. I'm really honored that you guys picked me to be able to do that, and more than anything, I'm honored that you at home watched this video. I love you all, take care, and I'll see you next year for my next video game review. Bye guys.